They all work the same. That's why we bunch them under the title Semitic language. English works a little like that, but not quite as consistently like that. So, if you're in a family or a tradition of the Kahans, let's say, and the Muslim historians say that the Prophet's cousin was what they call in Arabic a hani. His name was Waraka. I think that's actually so. He was an uncle of the Prophet or a cousin. A Hanif is an Arabian holy person or charismatic religious teacher of some kind. That he comes from a tradition of that background in some part of his or his wife's family also adds to this idea that you can have native-born abilities that have been honed over generations. In the second part of the class, when we study the pre-Islamic Arab poetry, we'll see how much similar the Prophet is to some of these poets, particularly the later ones in the 5th and 6th centuries, the 5 and 600s, let's say. So, though he puts a religious tone to it and speaks about biblical subjects, on the whole, the form is not unsimilar to the pre-Islamic poetry preceding it. So, are we to think that the angel spoke in pre-Islamic Arab poetic verse? That's, to my mind, stretching it. I think he had training. And I don't agree with Muslims, it's my personal view. I don't think a book like this can emerge without training of some kind. I think there's training or natural reception of activity in a poetic, rhyme, prose, Kahin type manner, soothsayer manner if you want. In Delphi and the Greeks, the pronouncements were given in a kind of oracular prose, which were sort of like a rhymed prose. This is how oracles worked in the ancient world. If that ability is in your family, then you receive it automatically. So you didn't have to go to the university to learn that kind of poetic expression is what I'm trying to say. And I think half of the power of the Quran is the poetic expression, whether Muslims agree to it or not. It's the fact when someone recites the Quran, forgetting even the meaning of the words, they get intoxicated because of the rhythm and the meter and the way it's pronounced and the rhyme. So even a non-Muslim can hear it being recited and can see the power of the reciting. Forget what the words mean. They don't have to mean anything. So that's a skill. That's a skill that develops. Now, maybe it's miraculous. That's fair. I'm just giving you the opposite. That's the point. The other matter, the biblical stories, as I told you last time. The biblical stories, I think my experiment fails. I don't continue it in the future. That's all right. Leave it. There's no problem. It's no problem. The other one isn't going to come, it looks like. Leave it go. I give up. I apologize. I won't do it again. I have to get a chair and paint it red or something like that. Anyway, the biblical stories, we'll see, as I've already told you in some of the stories, that he is not sticking to the straight biblical line on these things. Some stories he is and he tries to, or the angel tries to. Some stories show that he has not got a written document next to him, so that bears out the Muslim claim that he's not reading, that maybe he couldn't read, because if you wanted to get the story precisely, you would have this book next to you and you would read it and copy it down. He's retelling it, or the angel is retelling it, or the angel is reciting it to him in a retold way, however you want to say it. So there's a recitation. It's being retold, and to my mind, it's being retold either because it was heard imperfectly in the first place, or it was remembered imperfectly. That is, it was, you know how memory plays tricks on you? You've heard it 30 years ago, and then you try to retell, even the story of a movie. If you've gone to the movie 20 years ago and you try to tell someone the story, it just comes out really just half concocted and half accurate. My wife rented a movie the other day, and I was really, I guess not as polite as I should have been, because I said, I saw that on the stage, 40 years ago. And I don't remember that at all in the movie, what you're telling, what this movie is showing me. So it must have been there, but I never saw it, and I certainly can't remember it that way. So once memory plays tricks on you, and particularly if it's a story, suppose you were to tell me the Joseph story. Well, let's say you knew the Joseph story from school, or when you were in Sunday school or Bible class, or wherever you heard it. I failed.